Another edition of JIDE. Here we talk about actions and inactions of those who shape our political and national landscape and how these impact us positively or otherwise. I'm Ibrahim Shita. Today on the show, Labour Party heading for disaster as Ajaero's NLC rejects Abure's re-election. Party lawmakers, Defect, INEC also disowns party's convention. And later on the show, Army declares 8 wanted over murder of soldiers, traditional ruler Whisked to Abuja. In the course of the program, we take your questions, but first, subscribe to our YouTube channel and drop your questions in the comment section. It's important to mention that we can only read comments with human names and the ones based on the subject matter. I have joining me via Zoom, the master himself, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju. Good to see you, PKO, and belated happy birthday wishes to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate our fans for the show of love on the day I celebrated my birthday.
Right, let's get right into the conversation for today. With the recent crisis rocking a party referred to as the third force, NLC President Joe Ajaero has rejected Mr. Abure's re-election and the party's chairman, which has also recently seen the defection of its lawmakers. Does it look like the Labour Party is heading for disaster? BKO.
All is not well with the Labour Party. And, I say this because the facts available to me point in the direction of crisis. The party is divided. They may not have what looks like a proper faction, but all the signs point to the fact that the Labour Party is divided at this time. For example, the Board of Trustees of the party announced that it was taking over the running of the party from Barrister Julius Abure. Not only that, the leadership of the party disowned its own Board of Trustees. I've never seen anything like that since I've been following politics in our country. The party organized a convention where its bigwigs were notably absent. Bigwigs like Peter Obi, like the former national chairman of Abure, like Tony Nwoye. They stayed away from the convention of the party, which brought Barrister Julius Abure to office. Normally, when you have a convention like that, and if a party chairman is very popular, one way to show that he's popular is for bigwigs in the party to stand by him, show up at the convention, and show their support publicly. Even after the convention, the most important member of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, evaded questions around the emergence of Julius Abure at the National Convention. That National Convention has been opposed by not just the political wing of the Nigerian Labour Congress led by President of the NLC, Joe Ajaero, but the House of Reps caucus of the party also opposed the convention. As far as Ajaero and his people are concerned, Julius Abure has been doing his best to hold on rigidly and tenaciously to the leadership of the party. And they accuse him of corruption stemming from the expression of interest and nomination forms that the party sold So they accuse him of corruption in the region of 3 billion naira. Don't also forget that the national treasurer of the party similarly accused Julius Abure of corruption. So the NLC, it has to be said, has already written to the national legal advisor of the party, as well as the INEC, not to validate the convention that gave Julius Abure a second term in office. So these problems are there. The NLC sees the Labour Party now as something that belongs to it. Remember, the Labour Party was formed in the year 2003. It was an offshoot of a political party known as Party for Social Democracy. So the name was changed and it became Labour Party. So the the NLC, which is the parent body of the Labour Party, sees the party as belonging to it and sees people like Abure as people who came in to hijack the party and run it to the exclusion of other stakeholders. This is the big problem that has divided the Labour Party, which experienced unprecedented success in the 2023 presidential election, as well as the National Assembly election, especially. Because in the governorship elections, it didn't really do well. But in the National Assembly election, held on the same day as the presidential election, the party did tremendously well. And today, it is finding it difficult to manage the successes that it recorded, or the success that it has recorded. So now, one other big problem, which if the Labour Party does not guard its loins, would be expanded, would get worse in the days to come, is the possible defection of its bigwigs to other parties. If they find it difficult to resolve the crisis that is going on at this time, definitely we should expect that some of their members will defect. Already, during the week, 6 members of the Enugu State House of Assembly, who were members of the Labour Party, decided to defect. And this includes the majority leader of the party, the chief whip. That's right. Because the Labour Party had control, had the majority in the Enugu State House of Assembly. And that's why many people remain unconvinced that Labour Party didn't win the governorship election in the state, because they dominated the House of Assembly election. Now, some of those gains have been wiped away with the defection of 6 members, that's right, including the majority leader and the chief whip. So, and what reason did they cite for defecting? They claimed that their defection had to do with the crisis that is rocking their party. That's no right. one would deny that the party is already being bogged down by crisis with all of what we talked about. Remember, the treasurer, the national treasurer of the party, accused Abure of stealing. And in the end, she was suspended. But before the suspension, the presidential candidate of the party demanded for a thorough investigation. Yeah. So it would seem that Peter Obi is sitting on the fence. He has not come out fully to let anyone know where it belongs in this matter. But an overwhelming majority of the obedient members in the Labour Party are on the side of the Labour Party. They want a change. They want to take control of the leadership of the party. How long this will last, we don't know. And finally, the INEC also did not attend the convention of the national convention of the party, where Abure came away with victory. And it is mandatory for INEC to be present at a convention before that convention can be validated. So the absence of INEC, I can't explain, but it will raise legal issues and make it difficult for people to agree that Abure was properly returned as national chairman of the party at the convention held during the week.
BK, let me read this comment and then I'll definitely ask my very last question, or maybe penultimate. Just Production says, but why is Obi not intervening in the internal crisis of Labour Party before it gets to this stage, just like President Tinubu intervened in his party? Can we say Obi is only interested in himself, or what? Fola Shade Olarinye says, if Atiku and Obi are unable to coordinate their parties, how are they going to rule Nigeria as a country? Joseph Ayodele says, Obi is a failure. He started his political career in Abuja. Where is the party today? That's Joseph's position. But then the question I want to ask you is, when Peter Obi was asked why he shunned the convention, he responded by saying he only promised to rebuild Nigeria and not to build a new party. And the question people are asking is, it begs the question that if you can't build a common party, whose platform you intend to win an election, how then would you be able to build such a difficult country as ours, like Nigeria, BKO?
Peter Obi is a very slippery and cunning politician. Peter Obi can see that the momentum in the Labour Party is against Abure. He doesn't want to identify with Abure at this time. He knows what he's doing. He's someone that I'm very familiar with his idiosyncrasies. I can almost predict every action by Peter Obi because I know him very well. So he knows that at this time, Abure's popularity is waning badly. He is also aware that Abure is trying to cling on to power by all means possible. He is aware that the Labour Party and a sizable chunk of the obedient movement, that is those who came into the Labour Party simply to use it to actualize their desire to have Peter Obi elected president of Nigeria. That is the dominant group within the Labour Party. And that group at this time appears to have made up their mind. They appear to have made up their minds that Abure should go. So Peter Obi would not like to touch a raw nerve because he knows that if he does that, his people will not be happy with him. So he's very calculative. You can see that Abure is no longer popular and that his days are probably numbered. So he's not trying to commit himself at all. You would expect him to give a direct answer. But the Peter Obi that I know will not give a direct answer at this time because he's watching development. But he knows. And from his body language, it appears that he does not approve of the way the Labour Party is being run, especially the issue of corruption, forgery, all kinds of allegations made against Julius Abure. If Julius Abure were to be a politician who is principled, by now he will have quit because you've been accused of forgery, you've been accused of stealing, and you are still holding on to the party. Abure should be grateful to God because he used to be secretary of the party, he used to be national legal advisor. And upon the death of Alhaji Abdulrazak, he was catapulted to the national chairmanship. He was opposed initially, but in the end, they settled for him. He's done well. He led the party to its best performance in the national election, but he's waiting to be disgraced out of office. That is the way of most Nigerian politicians. They refuse to bow out when the ovation is loudest.
Right.
And they are greedy for power. That greed for power is evident in the leadership of the Labour Party at this time. That's why I tell people that they are not different from other political parties. How can Abure explain, for example, that the biggest people in the party did not attend their national convention? If the APC would do a national convention today, even the president, who is the leader of the party, will be present. Peter Obi was not there. Tony Nwoye was not there. And the former national chairman of ABDA, Victor Ume, who is a senator, also stayed away. So who are the people at that convention? You know, well, the party is in crisis, and I trust the bigger parties. They are going to start making moves to move their key members into their fold, beginning in the National Assembly. What we've seen in Enugu House of Assembly will continue in the National Assembly, especially now that the House of Reps caucus of the party has shown clearly that it does not want to go with Abure.
Right. That's right. Very quickly, let me just chip this in. Akin Oshitokun, the Director General of the Obi Dati campaign organization, you know, he was saying sometime this morning that Labour Party is likely to, you know, break into three factions: the Apapa faction, the Abure faction, and the Obedient faction. Because I wonder where the Obedience will definitely be among the two. But he said that there will be the Obedient faction. But the question someone is asking here is that, do you see, TG Associates saying, do you see the likelihood of Obi leaving the Labour Party? Very quickly, BK.
No, I do not see that happen. I think his supporters are trying to get hold of the Labour Party and use it to promote his ambition to be president of Nigeria. And I am certain that they will continue to push and push. The party will disintegrate. But it's a massive shame that a party that held so much promise is disintegrating before our eyes. And it seems to me like those issues are intractable. It will be difficult to resolve, because when one of the complaints that Ajaero supporters made was that Abure has shown total disrespect to the NLC leadership. And since he's shown total disrespect to the NLC leadership by abusing Ajaero, they are not going to give him their support. They will do their best to kick him into touch, as it is said in football.
Right.
So, but we are watching. It's significant that Akin Oshintokun has admitted that the party could break into two. That would be the end of the Labour Party. If it breaks into three, it will not be strong enough to make a significant impact in future elections. Because the momentum that earned Peter Obi those significant votes is no longer there. It's no longer there.
That's right.
If an election is held today, it's not going to make that kind of impact. You saw that in the governorship election.
Yeah.
Peter Obi's popularity didn't help the governorship aspirants. They were only able to win in one state. So the decline of the Labour Party has begun, and shame on the leaders of the Labour Party that they've allowed things to degenerate to this extent. They should really
Yeah,
be ashamed of themselves.
more like a flash in a pan or a storm in a teacup. Well, we just have to move on very quickly to other story. The defense headquarters is looking for 8 people over the recent killing of 17 military personnel in Delta State, whereas the king of Ewu Kingdom, Clement Ipolo, turned himself in with the claim that he has been wrongly listed among the wanted criminals and has since been transferred to Abuja. What's your reading of this situation, Biko?
Well, he's going to explain to the army, he's going to explain to investigators what he knows about the killing of the murder of 17 army personnel. At this stage, you cannot rule anything out. You cannot rule anything in. The traditional ruler, His Royal Majesty, Sinclair. I mean, let me see his name again. To be so. Okay, His Royal Majesty Clement Ikolo has to defend himself. No one has declared him guilty. He has to defend himself and explain that indeed he is innocent. And once he's able to effectively defend himself, will be allowed to go. So at this stage, we can't say whether he's saying the truth or not. He said he was wrongly listed. Perhaps that is true. Investigations will show that he was wrongly listed. Perhaps they have some goods on him. And the military would be willing to show proof that he has a case to answer. But at this preliminary stage, you can't even say that all of the people declared wanted are guilty. I saw a woman on that list, Igoli Ebi. And I'm wondering, what is a woman doing on this list? Again, I'm not an investigator, I'm not a policeman, neither am I a soldier. They must have their reasons. I am disappointed in the Delta state government because this issue, the conflict between two communities, should not have been left to degenerate to the point that soldiers who came in with the intention of making peace would then be killed in the manner in which they've been killed. All of the people that I've spoken to who are conversant with the affairs of both communities located along the Forcados River tell me that it was a case of people being killed in error, very similar to what happened in Zakibian when the two warring communities were fighting one another. Two communities were fighting one another, and soldiers came in, and one of the community fighters of one of the communities thought their enemies were the people dressed in army uniform, descended on them and dismembered those soldiers. It's very similar to what we have seen here. I've been told by many of the people that I interviewed that it was a clear case of mistaken identity. But be that as it may, it is clear that some non-state actors are heavily harmed, especially in the Niger Delta area. And yes, you could accuse the soldiers of being lightly armed when they stormed that community. But the people who attacked them were by far better armed than them. Some of them reportedly had rocket-propelled grenades. The soldiers had nothing close to that. Just had their rifles. They were lightly armed. So it was easy to overrun them. These two communities, Okoloba and Okoma, they've intermarried, they've intertraded, and they are both predominantly into fishing and trading, farming as well. So it makes no sense for two communities so close to one another to be killing one another in the way that they were doing. And that's why I felt that the River State, the Delta State government should have resolved the matter before now, but they were largely indecisive and indifferent, which allowed the matter to degenerate into a full-scale war. And when a particular man was murdered, he was first kidnapped around Ajaero community, the Jaw community. Later on, when a report was lodged that they were looking for him, they found his corpse floating on the Forcados River. Naturally, they accused the adversaries of being behind the killing. And of course, his head had been taken away. So soldiers stepped in, soldiers moved to the scene. They wanted to make some arrests. An alarm was raised that the enemy had come to the area dressed in military uniform, seeking to abduct some of their men. In response to that alarm, there was a confrontation. The soldiers shot into the air, but the hoodlums overpowered them.
That's right.
And the rest is history. So now the army has expanded its hunt for the people behind these killings to Delta states. To Bayelsa State. One Ruben Baru actually shot a video that went viral in which he expanded the scope of the conflict and even brought in Tompolo. Tompolo is the most famous militant in the entire Niger Delta. Today, he's been engaged by the federal government to stop oil theft and help us increase our oil output. There are many people in the Niger Delta opposed to Tompolo even having that contract renewed. They pressured the president not to renew it because they felt that had already given Tompolo so much latitude in that area. And the army, the navy, they are on his side. So there were some people were looking for a way to kind of achieve a balance of terror or bring up another militant who can counter Tompolo and allow the willful theft of Nigeria's oil resources to continue. That was why the Chief of Defense Staff said what happened could be linked to bunkering. I knew from the beginning that bunkering and oil theft could be one of the reasons for this big conflict. And the Chief of Defense Staff mentioned that. So listening to Ruben Baru, who claimed that the soldiers were actually doing the bidding of Tompolo, you could see how complex that conflict had become. So it's no longer a contest, or I mean, for land between the Okoloba and the Okpoma communities. The Okpomas are the Robos, and the Kolobas are the Ijos. The issue of bunkering has already been linked to what has happened.
Right.
So that is an area where we need to do a lot more investigation, and the investigators of these killings must not rule anything out.
Yeah.
It looks very likely that while we believe that the military came to um, quell fighting, the conflict revolves around battle for exclusive talk in the area to enable the oil theft to go on. So I was actually alarmed by the revelation made by the Chief of Defense Staff that bunkering was at the root of what happened.
Right.
So was it simply a case of two sets of hoodlums battling for control of the area to enable them steal Nigeria's oil as much as they wanted, or a case of a group seeing another group as coming to stop it from having unfettered access to those resources? So now what we have from our investigation is a case of Tompolo and the others.
Yeah.
And already among those that have been declared wanted are militants known to oppose Tompolo, known to be doing their best, of course, with the support of some political bigwigs
That's
in
right.
Niger, in Delta and Bayelsa, to get someone who can really beat Tompolo to his game, to raise another deadly militant, more powerful and more influential than Tompolo. These are the issues that people are not talking about. People are simply saying, oh, the army came to resolve a conflict, but it is a conflict much wider than that in scope and circumstance.
Yeah. That's right. Very quickly, because we're out of time, BKO. Human rights lawyer Femi
Yeah.
Falana said it's illegal for the military to declare civilians wanted without obtaining a court order. Adding that if the federal government fails to call the defense headquarters to order, the case concerning the tragic murder of the soldiers will be completely bungled. How do you react to this? Very quickly.
It's not everything that Femi Falana says that I like to uh, respond to. It's not. The army has been declaring terrorists wanted in the northeast, for example. I didn't hear him complain about that. Shekau and others have been declared wanted not by the police but by the military.
Yeah.
And there are specific, what the military wants is support from the citizens by way of providing information, you know, that could lead to the arrest of these people, because many of them have left Delta State. They are some are in Bayelsa. They are hiding. They could even end up outside Nigeria. You know. So what the army is trying to do is to get the support of our people, provide them information with which they can get hold of people. So if the army is already involved in security work in our states. No one can say they do not have the power to declare someone wanted. No, they don't have the power of prosecution,
That's right.
but they can declare you wanted, and when they get hold of you, they will turn you in. They are not going to try you through martial law. They are still going to hand you over to the police who have prosecutorial powers. I don't like these needless arguments over point of law and the rest. I just don't like it.
That's right.
Does the American Army, did they not declare Osama bin Laden and co-wanted? Were they not going after them? Were they not making those arrests? No, let's ask ourselves. Because the U.S. Army was operating in Afghanistan and all these places, and they were declaring people wanted.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah. Falashade says the military can never trust the police to handle the case. Fagwe David said this man called BKO is a legend in journalism. It dissects and integrates all topics. If I see what he wrote very well, any topic rather he handled. He said it dissects and integrates any topic he handled with professionalism, not like others. Oh, well, Falashade Olanre also says, Ibrahim, please help me read this to JIDE after the program. Some of us in diaspora are not happy about the cyberbullying against Mohbad's wife and his son. They called her Black Widow. Help, please. Well, I think we might want to talk about that maybe in our subsequent programming, but because this time around we're actually out of...
We'll look at it. Even Femi Falana has opted out of defending the family because according to him, the family is so divided. Some of what the father is doing is uncalled for. Some of what the Mohbad's mother is saying, even about Mohbad's father, is uncalled for. They look like a rudderless and thoroughly dysfunctional set of people. You know, we shouldn't be seeing all this. We shouldn't be seeing all this at all. And it's really concerning when we still don't know his autopsy is not out. And these guys are abusing one another all over the place. Mohbad's father said that he's been wearing his son's dresses because from time immemorial, they wear the same size of clothes and all that. But this boy is dead, and you are wearing his designer clothes all over the place. Come on. Some of these things are really irritating to hear. But what can we do? Why are you wearing his dresses? Why?
Anyway,
why are you wearing his dresses?
Yeah, we'll find time to talk about it in any of our subsequent programming. That's our show for today's edition of Issues with JIDE. Special thanks to you, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, for those insightful analyses, as always.
Thank you, Brian. God bless our viewers. We'll do this again next week. And thank you once again for the birthday wishes. Right. The outpouring of love was unprecedented. My Facebook post on my birthday garnered more than 10,000 comments. I've never seen anything like that. Wow. So how do you read 10,000 comments? Wow. And a lot of our people made individual posts running into hundreds. That's apart from the 10,000 comments and more than 10,000 likes for the post. So it shows that people still believe in me. People still love me. I was told initially that, after the election, Babajide is no longer popular. Nobody wants to listen to him. But the way people came out for me on my birthday shows that the people saying that did not know what they were saying. Even more popular than before the election. Because last year, my birthday post garnered just 8,600 comments. Wow. But this time around, it's more than 10,000 comments. Wow. So last year it had about 86 likes, 86 shares. This time around, it's more than 110 shares. So my fame has not declined, as some people wanted the world to believe. It's in fact on the rise, based on what I saw on my birthday.
That's right. And Adeyemi Lawrence is saying happy birthday, BKO. Violence. Okay, well, I didn't get this. Folashade Olari is also saying thank you, voice of the voiceless. Nelson Adefe says we love you, BKO and Ibrahim. Thank you very much, guys. Just Production says BKO is a hero. We love you, Jare. Many happy returns. Wish you many years in good health and happiness. That's coming from Folashade Olari. Thank you very much, guys. Thank you to our audience for keeping our company on every edition. You can see the program again anytime by subscribing to our YouTube channel, TVC News Nigeria. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. You can also follow us on our social media platforms at TVC News NG. I'm also at Ibrahim TVC News. On behalf of the rest of the team, I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. Bye for now.